Welcome to Rhythm of Reviews, where we dive into the rest of the Rhythm of War, the fourth Stormlight Archive novel. I am Danielle with the 17th Shard.
Hi, I'm Marvin.
And I'm Eric.
Hello.
Hey.
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 Hey. Obviously, there's going to be some Rhythm of War spoilers.
No way.
Everybody knows this by now.
Yes. Rhythm of War spoiler is actually a very big search term for our YouTube results.
Yep.
People want this.
Oh, nice. Good.
And
well, then
there's also going to be major Cosmere spoilers.
Yes. Yes. This one especially.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. So what are we talking about today?
Well, we're going to be going over Adolin and Shallan's parts in Rhythm of War because they kind of go their own way.
Yep.
In part one, we left them discussing the makeup of the traveling party. And now Adolin, Shallan, we have Godeki, Zoo, Stump, and some of Adolin's people, including Felt and his wife, are traveling to Lasting Integrity. In part 4, they're inside Lasting Integrity, where Shallan is looking for Restaris, and Adolin is under trial for the entire Recreants.
Great plan, Adolin.
Yes, good job. And then in part 5, Adolin has won over some of the Honor Spren, and maybe even some of the Ink Spren, and Shallan has taken Testament under her wing and is going after Ba-Ado-Mishram ahead of the Ghostbloods. We assume.
Yep. That's what happens. So, what if we talk about some of our favorite scenes before we get into big general thoughts? We're not going to go chronologically. It's like, this is what happened in chapter 21. It's like, I don't think you guys care about that.
That would be very long.
That would be very long. Well, not as long as I expected. Doing the notes for this, it's like, wow, there's really not that many chapters in part 4 for this arc, but more in part 2. So, What are some favorite part 2 moments for you guys?
I think one of my favorites definitely has to be the Starspren.
Starspren's cute.
No.
Definitely. And, like the scene itself is very cute, and the Starspren, like how it poses for Shallan to draw.
Yeah. I got one of those too. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and just Adolin trying to get Shallan actually out because Shallan's like super regressing and Vale and Radiant are like doing everything, and it's like, okay, Shallan will come out, and it's just like really cute. I really like the Adolin-Shallan relationship development because that really was not as developed in Oathbringer, so that was a great scene for that, I felt.
Yeah. I think that Adolin shined throughout this whole part, and he turned from being like a secondary character in my mind to a main character in this book for me. I feel like he's going to be very, very important to the whole ordeal.
Do you think Adolin got enough in this book? Because there's definitely some critique that Adolin did not have enough to do. Like the final stuff with Maya, like he wasn't really doing as much. Like he was on trial, but Maya was the star. What do you think?
I feel like he did. I am an Adolin fan, and I do feel like he got plenty in this book. I mean, their part in general was already smaller than the Navani plotline and everything. And his part was, I feel like, even more than Shallan's. So he got more screen time than Shallan did.
That's true.
So I feel like he got a real good character development and a storyline in this book, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I feel like he could have had some better denouement at the end. Like, it really left him off at like, okay, the Maya reveal and the recurrence and stuff, and then we mainly deal with Shallan and their plotline. But apart from that, like, especially in part 2, we had a lot of Adolin and human tagging with both Shallan and Maya, and also the other Spren that were with them. So I really, really liked him in this book, and I didn't feel like he was underrepresented or anything like that. Yeah.
I really liked how Adolin's relationship with Dalinar went. That's like, oh yeah, cool. Adolin's real upset about, Dalinar killing his mom. I was like, yeah, that was nice. I'm glad we got that, and I'm glad we got that quick in part 2 with we're getting Adolin viewpoints. So I liked that very, very quickly.
I always felt like Adolin had some issues with being a little redundant since he's not radiant, not
Right.
radiant.
Yeah.
And I felt like in the previous books, they didn't talk about that often, and it wasn't really obvious. But in this book, it kind of came to the front. Like, he does feel a little redundant, but now, I mean, he's got this big task to do from his father, and so I
he
really
wants to
liked
do
it.
it well. He doesn't want to let him his dad down, and I don't know. It worked. That plot worked for me, and just like no, the Honest Men are gonna let us go. No, I'm not gonna do that.
Especially, I like the contrast there with Oathbringer, where in the Shadesmar sequence, that's where he really felt sort of useless and couldn't really do anything, while Shallan and Kaladin, like, they could actually fight there at the end at the Oathgate. And so this was a real nice contrast to see him in action and take the lead, and really, for one, also show that he would be a great High Prince, I feel. They call him Prince, I'm assuming they ever get it back. But
what are princedoms these days? What does that mean? So
I really liked him sort of developing these leadership skills without while stepping out of Delena's shadow. And like, especially also in part 1, we had this him showing off, like, wearing the boots and not really caring what Delena thought about them. So yeah, really like that.
And Adolin, like, being good, like, he's still like a goody two shoes, like he always is, right? Like he is, but that's like the whole thing, in that he is good, and it saves Nodum. That's one of my in part 2. That was just awesome.
Yes, that was one of my favorite scenes.
And Maya joining, and just him being good mattering, and then seeing how that affected Nodum later, because Adolin's just like, man, Nodum, you should speak what's on your mind. You got like your entire position revoked forever, so it's like that kind of sucks. But then Nodum, honor still lives in the heart of men. It's like, yes. So good. And so Adolin being good, and being good at fighting, I mean, it only really mattered there in that scene, but I mean, it's a great scene. I liked it. It was really good.
Well, it's not just him being good at fighting; it's him being compassionate with Maya and with Nodum and everybody. Like, he wins people over with his personality and his charisma, and that's what's really important about him. Not just his fighting skill, because he's incredibly skilled, but it's more to him than just knives and nice coats.
Definitely. And I feel like it really showed off that he, even if he didn't have the special situation with Maya that he has now, he'd be a really good candidate for the edge dancers, and like he takes care of those. Notum sort of was forgotten in a way because he was in exile and stuff like that, so that fits thematically. And also with him being such a great fighter, that I can now imagine how that, like, in Words of Radiance, the one epigraph that said the edge dancers were like the most
graceful and refined.
But also like these killing machines. Basically. I
mean, that is true. They're vicious, but also graceful and refined. And who is more refined and fashionable than Adolin? Like, he's very graceful and refined. Lift, not so much. I really liked Adolin and Shallan, like, getting that character development. Like, that was really good. That's what we needed, and they're so great together. Even though Shallan's kind of a train wreck, which is true. Less of a train wreck at the end, less.
Yes.
Strictly
and
better.
I really liked when Adolin is telling her kind of what he did with Maya to help Maya, and now Shallan has Testament, and she's trying to I love that.
I didn't quite jive on that until like recently. I was like, oh yeah, that's really good, and there's more reasons for that. That's good stuff. I have a few other random part 2 things. We'll obviously talk tons about Shallan, but one thing early in part 2 that totally destroyed an assumption we made in Oathbringer is that The oath gates were not closed by Honor.
Oh.
The sibling closed the oath gates. And I actually went back to what the oath gate spren said in Oathbringer, and they said, we are closed by the will of the parent. And it's like, it totally makes sense that it is the sibling there, because like you would just say like Honor, or like you wouldn't use like a gender neutral thing there, right? Because like the parent's super gender neutral, whereas like Honor not gender neutral at all, right?
Yep.
So it's like,
they would say the father, yeah.
And so that was just like really interesting there, that we just like made that assumption. It was super common. It's like, oh yeah, Honor closed that, but it's like, nope, it was a sibling. It was a sibling, and it is there. The foreshadowing is there. It's cool.
And it does make sense. Like the platforms are part of the tower.
I mean, the relationship there is interesting, but
especially with how it, like the Oath Gates, I also really liked how they manifest in Shadesmar, that they are like these super spires. Cool. So
your Thiru renders totally awesome in Shadesmar, like this glowing tower thing that's like iridescent. Like, whoa, that is crazy.
And then all the spren are like magnetized to it. They want to like be around it and hang around, especially with all the people around. Yeah. Now.
And then you have these giant you're in the Oathgate platforms and you have to go down these giant spiral staircases. Like, all right, it is very cool looking. Shadesmar is really, really cool. Very high fantasy sort of thing.
I mean, I really liked all the spren we got to see, and all the other radiants that we got to see on this journey here.
Peak spren!
Like especially, Peak spren, and Sue especially was a really great character, I felt. Like,
I wish they had more in the book. So it's just like, hey, let's introduce all these characters, and it's like, none of that is going to matter part 4 at all. So it's like, I don't know if I liked that, but.
That is true. They didn't really have a lot to do, but it was very enriching, especially since we got all of Shallan's drawings of all the different spren. And now we have people who actually are bonded with these spren. So it really is good for the mind's eye. And I loved their names, like Dreaming Though Awake.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I loved that. And then we got the Stoneward spren. What are they called?
Peak spren.
The peak spren,
And it's like got lava like between the rocks of the body and stuff.
I liked Uapam arguing with his brother, right? How it's like Odium comes, and his brother's like, we can run, and Uapam's just like, no, we can't. It's just so I like seeing the disagreements in spren.
I also liked how Uapam at some point, like, I can't remember who it was, but right. Adolin said to him that, like, when they were in Celebrant, the Peakspren didn't want them on their ship, and then those Easterner Peakspren that shows that there are distinct cultures even among types of spren. So it's not just all the Peakspren are like that. They're actual people and not just like these manifestations of ideas.
And even the Honor spren, right, that we see later, it's like they are like, in many respects there are similarities, but they do not all think the same. Like that disagreement about like, does honor still live on in the hearts of men? Like Kalak's like, oh yeah, this is an old debate. You opened old wounds. And so like that kind of the whole point of this arc is that the spren are not homogenous. Each type of spren, very much not, even though it is easy to like think that they are, you know? But
and even in the sketchbook pages, when you read the text on them, Shallan mentions the differences between like their markings and what they wear and how they present themselves. Yeah, I feel like them being introduced is mostly world building purpose.
Yeah, true. One other thing is Notum riding a spren horse, and that not all spren were imagined by men. It's like, and that made me think of like, did Great Shells like imagine these horses, or like Drashadium, like things like that, right? Like, that's really cool.
Like-
And didn't Gallant have some weird things going on with him? And I think he had like an after image.
After images,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, that made me wonder if maybe he was imagining like Spren horses.
Also, like how like Rashadium, they have these like rainbowy sort of eyes as well. So that's like shows that they're invested in some way. I think it's that they have a bond is what Bren.
Yeah,
also
they do have a bond with like music Spren, I think. Yeah.
Music Spren.
Yeah.
So that also makes me wonder whether these horse Spren are actually the music Spren, or whether those are just like ones that the Rashadium then imagined after having bonded the music Spren or whatever.
I like that.
But in general, I also really liked how much more we got to see of Gallant and how Adolin's relationship with him developed, because he doesn't have Sure Blood anymore.
Yeah.
And I feel like it might also be a first for them, or like for Gallant might be the first Rashadium to have 2 riders that he accepts, maybe. So that's also a new thing that they are now exploring.
Yeah, because like Gallant doesn't have Dalinar anymore, right? So it's kind of a mutual thing, and there's definitely respect there. It feels, and that was nice. That was nice.
It's such an Adolin thing to do, be the first person to do that, and then just like with all the Spren, he's connecting with them and talking to them, and they're teaching him about their cultures and things. Yeah.
Yeah.
One final thing I have on like part 2 in general is what I found weird about the Tukari is that they apparently had like these shadows around them.
Yeah, it looked wrong.
And maybe it's just a function of like how Shadesmar works, maybe, or how they came into Shadesmar with like the perpendicularity that Ishar probably opened for them.
Ishar probably opened, yeah, right. Because Ishar was summoning, moving the Tukari in to get Spren for his weird crap. Like that's clearly what was happening. Yikes. Yeah, it is weird. Like I don't know, I blame Ishar for everything. Like he's a good person to blame.
Oh, definitely.
So at the end of part 2, Shallan's like, whoa, he's Pattern the spy. What did you guys think of Pattern being the spy? Because Jess loves Pattern a lot and is like, no, Pattern cannot be the spy. She was like emotionally devastated by that. What did you guys think?
I thought that Formless was the spy.
That's very astute of you. That is very astute of you for a few reasons. But
so I also really like Pattern, especially like how he applies math to everything, like now dividing by zero.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Nice
He's the best. He's the best.
Yeah. But as soon as Shallan started to suspect, like I didn't see that coming at all. Like I did not expect him to be the spy, but as soon as Shallan suspected it, I also recalled like that when Adolin met Testament there in Nameless, and then for some reason I remember that Adolin thought that it might have been some radiant from Bafland or something like that, and I was like, okay, it must have been Shallan, and so then it made sense. Like I don't know why.
So you figured that out pretty early.
Yeah. Like not as early as others probably, but still earlier than like the actual reveal in the book. So yeah, then I was like, okay, I could see how Pattern making it, but I also didn't expect him to like contact Hoyt. Like I was assuming he would be talking to Reyes and giving him information. When
Reyes mentioned that the corrupted glory Spren was the one, that's when I realized that it wasn't like Formless, because why would she just say one of those? Yeah. And then I started to put it together after that part. But I didn't expect it up until then.
Yeah, I think what happened there is that Pattern was talking to Wit, but Wit was spied on by the Ghostbloods, and so that's how the Ghostbloods knew by the Sleepless
pen.
Yeah. This is like you got to kind of fit that together there. But like I knew like Pattern couldn't have killed Iole, so I was like something more is going on here. But like it got more complicated. I was like, there's no way Pattern's evil. Like, that doesn't make sense.
no,
like, I don't
he's
believe that.
sweet.
Yeah.
But I did find it interesting that he was able to maybe not lie, but more deceive her for that long, because when we actually saw him trying to lie, it was so goofy. It reminded me of like when Syl was pretending to be the corrupted, or the what are they called? The red spren.
The void spren.
Yeah. When it reminded me of when Syl was trying to be the void spren.
Right.
Like they just can't really act very well.
But the thing is,
Basically.
Pattern is good at lying because he lied to Shallan through all of Words of Radiance. It's like, oh yeah, we totally did that in your childhood. It's like, yeah,
And I know that you're going to kill me.
yeah, right, yeah. Well, that's
that
justified.
technically wasn't a lie. Yeah.
That was not a lie. It's like, I'm sure you're gonna kill me. I have it on good authority that you might.
But yeah, it's. I could still have seen like, okay, she starts suspecting Pattern now, and maybe Pattern was doing something, but it could still have been one of the others. Like there might have been like Pattern might have done something else that made her suspect him, but especially with like, I guess that was a real red herring that Ishna replaced the other guy, Star guy.
Yeah, well,
Barrel.
Yeah, Barrel. Yeah, right.
Oh, Barrel. Oh,
Barrel
so
was
Barrel did
too
it right.
obvious. Like,
yeah. So and like so, but it could still have been one of the others. But it made a lot of sense when Shallan started to suspect it, especially with like having remembered the Testament thing. So
yeah. So do we want to talk about some Part 4 stuff now? Let's talk about lasting integrity. We've obviously talked a bit about the end.
That starts with chapter 73. Yes, Part 4.
Guys, what's up with 16? what do you, I don't know. I have no idea. We'll just not be. Maybe we'll put it in a Shardcast episode of like more unexplained things that we don't know anything about. We'll talk about Vax again for like 2 minutes, and then we'll talk about 16 for 2 minutes. Like, I don't know. What's up with 16?
Brendan's dedicated very many paragraphs to 16, especially like with all the setup that he only comes out every 16 days, and how Shallan was waiting for him. So yeah, he must, something must be up there, but I have no idea who he might be.
He's clearly from somewhere else, but I don't know.
Well, yeah, he's an off-worlder. These are my notes from my notebook.
Your notebook is insane.
Yeah.
So he's an off-worlder, short, pale, sickly, completely bald, and he has these weird, sickly and completely bald. That's what he's described as.
Are you thinking the same thing I am?
Is he like a post-riot Elantrian?
That's what it sounds like, right? Yeah.
My very first thought. Yep.
Huh.
Yeah, and then he's stuck in these mannerisms that are related to maybe like obsessive compulsive disorder or something, like where everything is 16. He only leaves his house at the 16th day, or And
that would make a lot of sense for like one of the Howard, because like they go sort of insane. So
yeah, and I mean we do see like Rhino, he's an Irie who was that Hoed in Elantris. It's still crazy. So it's like, sure, that's not unprecedented.
Like, and we also saw the vat that was from the Irie in the gemstone. Yeah. So we know that they've visited there.
Yeah, right.
So maybe 16 is like one of the Elantrians after the Riot that like they experimented with getting them to the cognitive realm or something and didn't go through the perpendicularity. So because that apparently fixed Rhino, but so maybe whatever they did to him didn't fix him. Something like that, maybe.
Like a failed experiment.
Huh.
They didn't pick up on him being bald and looking sickly.
Yeah, you're totally right. It is absolutely sickly skin. It's like, that really does feel like some post-Riot Elantrian right there. Yeah. Interesting.
They've got their fingers dabbling and everything.
I mean, look, the Elantrians have existed a long time. That is not surprising at all. Elantrians are ridiculously powerful. So, like, yeah, of course they're doing weird crap that we probably don't even know the details of.
Maybe they put him in lasting integrity because of the strange physics that's going on there or something.
Sure. Yeah, because lasting integrity is super interesting. Like, it's not that the honor spren, it's just the fortress decided that it would be like that in a sense where it's like, it's this giant pillar, but the gravity's different. You can just walk on the side. There, like
until you get to the center of the pillar where it all falls back down.
Right, yeah. You have to be like near the edges. So it's like just a very weird place. I did like how Shallan is just like, I'm jumping just to get the Stormlight and just totally trolling Honor Spren because like they've been in the fortress a really long time. They don't know the subterfuge well. It was like, that was kitty. That was pretty funny. And
I liked how it sort of like lasting integrity in itself showed off that Shadesmar is weird, and it's not just like a reflection of the physical realm, but it can have weird local effects.
It is very weird. Yeah.
I liked that Adolin was really comfortable with walking around in there, though. Because they made a comment that he's much more graceful when he's transitioning from like one side to the other, and he takes a step and then leans back, and he kind of naturally, or maybe not naturally, but he adapted to it very well.
Maybe I don't remember, but like, why was Shallan just allowed to just like, yeah, you can walk around lasting integrity or whatever, but like Adolin's in a holding cell? It's like, why wouldn't they just hold both of them? I don't know. You know?
Maybe because she's a Knight Radiant?
Yeah, but they don't like the Radiants. They don't approve of any of that crap. I don't know.
That is weird, yeah.
If you have an answer in the comments that I missed, because there's a lot of stuff in this book, but I still don't quite understand why Shallan can just move around freely. I mean, I guess she's not on trial. I guess that's honor sprunny enough. But yeah.
But what I really like about part 4, like the first chapter that we have is the Restaurus is Kalak reveal.
Oh my god, it's so good.
And combined with that, like that the epigraphs are the letter from Kalak to Shallan, or like the Ghost Bloods, where he says, "Oh, you've killed me," or something like that. So it's like you go into it expecting, okay, she might succeed at killing him or like doing something to him, but then at the end it results, okay, no, not at all. But
no, I'm gonna be this health friend.
Yeah,
can't wait.
I really like that. Oh,
I have to go back and read all the epigraphs one after another rather than having them split because I did not do that yet.
Yeah, the part 4 epigraphs, aside from the part 2 epigraphs, which we did a whole episode on Shardcast about, you can go listen to it. But I think the part 4 ones have the most like lore. The part 3 ones are a little weird, Rhythm of War-y. Like, it doesn't really make sense until you figure out stuff later. And then like L's are interesting in part 5, but there's not all that much to talk about. But I love Kalak, guys. Kalak is just the best. Like, when the Honor Spren are talking, like, I just want to read some of this. It's like, you're going to try him for the Recreants? Isn't that a little extreme? He offered, Holy Lord. Not a smart one, is he? It's just... And then collects, like, Adolin petitions trial by witness, and Sekir's like, I don't think that'd be wise, and Kalak's just, hold on, I don't care what you think. And it's just, wow. It's just, and I think in the trial is like, is he just doing word puzzles? I think that's a line. It's just totally believable. This is very believable, actually. Yeah. And I was like, Adolin has a good point. It's a good point there.
I really liked how in his notes, like in the epigraph, how the snark also came through there. Like how, after 7,000 years, the Fuse finally have figured it out.
Yeah, they didn't know the Fuse didn't know that they could trap Spren until the binding of Ba-Ado-Mishram. So
yeah, really liked him.
Yeah,
I made a note when I got to find out that Kalak was Restaurus. I made a note when they met him that, you have expectations of a herald because like these for your basically like your gods,
Yeah.
holy figures. And then I made a note, never meet your heroes because they'll totally defy your expectations.
Yeah, never meet your herald.
Yeah, never meet your heralds. I just love the characterization, and he's one of the more sane heralds, really. Like, let's be honest. Yeah. But he's not all there for sure.
I could live with his insanity, so I guess like it doesn't bother. Yeah, I really like how he apparently is just this. I guess what he really is obsessed with is getting off-world and like severing the connection or whatever.
Yeah,
but
right.
That's understandable.
Very understandable.
So. Yeah, he does seem like he's more on the sane side, and he's actually in a position now, and like how he talks to Shallan as well when she goes to try and kill him, how he talks to her, like I could feel like he could be an ally in the future and actually help them. Yeah,
right.
Help them defeat the ghost.
The insanity displays itself very differently in all the different heralds, and it makes me wonder if maybe because we know that it's kind of like magically induced insanity. It makes me wonder if maybe it's like enhancing a certain personality trait of each one.
Yeah.
Like Kalak's kind of laid back and sarcastic. So maybe he had that personality trait before, but now it's just accentuated.
Yeah. Or like the inverting of their divine attributes, things like that.
Something like that.
Evgeny liked. I just love the trope of the judge just being totally insane. Like it is just, it makes things hilarious to read. It is good stuff there.
And speaking of the judge, and I do not like the way the honor spren have like a process at all. It's so it really shows off that they are not the spren of laws or anything. They are the spren of morality in a way, and like your own morality rather than a higher code of law. So the whole process was a shame.
Matt, who is a lawyer, is just like, oh my god, the honor spren procedure just driving me insane. And it's like, I'll trust you on that. It does make it easier for it to be more cinematic and fake trial-y rather than actual trial-y. So apparently, Danielle, you got in chapter 78 that Shallan killed her previous spren. That's apparently in your notes. That you got it right in that chapter.
I wrote that down. Now, I said in the last Rhythm of Reviews episode that I had predicted from even before Rhythm of War that Shallan's like other secret is that she killed her spren. But I thought that it was pattern, and then somehow she restored pattern.
Okay,
so I already had that in my mind. And then at that chapter 78, that was the High Judge. That was when Pattern mentioned that he was talking to Wit. And then I said, I think maybe Shallan killed her previous spren, and then Pattern bonded her after. Not sure, though.
Hey, there you go. You got it. You nailed it. Yeah, God, Shallan's past is just so weird. That's going to be a full Shardcast episode where we argue about that crap. And like, for sure.
Which truth is she at now?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think taking stock in old wobs where Brandon is like, oh yeah, well, Shallan was trying to pull Pattern into the. It's like, what was she in? Like after killing Testament? Like, I don't know about that, but there is actually some really cool foreshadowing for Testament that people have found, which I certainly did not. But there were things like there was one in Words of Radiance where Shallan realizes that the voice she heard in Soul Casting and Way of Kings was different. So that's really cool.
That's fine.
And then there was one about like foreshadowing being, oh no, my greatest sin was the shard blade. And it's like, it's not killing the mob. It's like, I get it. It's the thread itself. It's the blade itself. It's like, that makes sense.
Yeah, in general, like all the talk about like the fruit of her sin or whatever she also calls the shard blade, and it makes a ton of sense in retrospect.
And then I remember she was also thinking about the 10 heartbeats, and then she's like, wait, no, I don't need that anymore.
Yeah,
so I wonder if she was able to draw Testament before she had pattern as a Deadeye?
Yeah,
Possibly?
like it's a little weird because it seems like, I don't know, I think she had to have summoned Testament to kill Tin in book 2, but it's a little weird. But
Yeah.
no, apparently there's this line in the chapter on the lesson. Could Shallan really do it? Could she betray this woman who had taken her in? Considering what I've done before, she thought, this is nothing. It wouldn't be the first time she betrayed someone who trusted her. It's like, oh, there you go. That's nice.
Yeah.
I like it. Because I kind of felt like the Testament thing just like didn't jive with Words of Radiance knowledge. Because like just Patterns talking about that so matter-of-factly. He's just a liar. He was just a liar the whole time. But I'm glad that the foreshadowing's there and that people are picking up on it. So that makes me like it a lot more.
But he was lying to protect her.
That's true. That's true. Yes, because clearly
I don't like you saying he's a liar.
Well, I mean, he lied. He lied a lot. That's a fact. He was
trying to protect her from her past
through lying. Look, I'm not saying he wasn't justified in lying. Like, I'm not a person that says you should never lie ever. Like, I don't believe that. But I mean, it is a lie, but it was for a reason. Yes.
And I think it does put an interesting spin on their relationship, like, because so far Shallan's and Pattern's relationship was sort of ideal in a way for Radiant and her Spren. So it's interesting for her to also experience some difficulties, I guess, with her Spren, and it's not all perfect between them. And,
sure, I see what you mean. Yeah.
So, and I mean, he did come sort of clean to her about how he talked to Wit and not Mraze. So
yeah.
How does Lightweaver actually break their oaths?
That's a good question.
Yep.
It's a good. I mean, I guess like you could just always break the first ideal, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you don't want the spread around, then it's like I'm not going to do this life before death crap.
Like, how did Shallan basically kill Testament? Like,
ooh,
we didn't get that answered. We just know that it happened, and she finally
just wanted the Spren to go
that
away. Like that, he hated the Spren.
I think, like we know. I think that like a Radiant, if a Radiant and a Spren say, okay, we can break the bond now. And if it's like mutual, they can do that, and it both will be more or less fine. I think that's
what happened in the Recreants, Marvin.
Right, like, when Maya said we chose.
Oh, yeah, I mean, like
chose.
But like before the Recreants, I mean, like they could technically break the bond and they'd be fine. But
I think so, yes.
In this case, Shallan was willing to break the bond while Testament didn't want it to break, and that is what maybe caused her death. But I don't know. Like,
yeah. I mean, I think even if the Spren is willing now. So the key difference is that Ba-Ado-Mishram's imprisonment damaged all Spren. All Spren. Damaged like all of Roshar. And Deadeyes are new. They never happened pre-Recreants. So like I feel like if they could have just gone through the method that they usually did of like, no, we shouldn't be Radiants anymore. But they knew it would like be painful, but they didn't know it would be Deadeyes. Yeah. And like, even if the Spren consented, it would be like that. So I feel like regardless of what Testament, like whether Testament did that or not, like Testament would have become a Deadeye once.
Either way.
Yeah, I think so. There is this weird thing about how Shallan maybe used a Seon box like in her past. She's like, oh, I used one of these before. What's up with that?
Yeah. I like the reveal about Testament, and it puts all of Words of Radiance and everything in a new perspective.
Yes,
but it puts everything in a new perspective, so we have to basically figure out our entire past again. And I thought we had a relatively firm grasp on most stuff, but not at all.
Not at all. It's way more complicated, and Brandon at the end is just like, yeah, there's still some holes. I'm like, well, we better freaking get some answers in book 5, like, or I'm going to be livid. We better have the full story. What did Mom did? What's up with this box?
Well, Shallan still has Radiant around. She doesn't have Veil, but she still has Radiant, so she has to kind of. Well, I'm just assuming that this is what's going to happen: is that Radiant will eventually have her melding together with Shallan.
That could even happen
Eventually.
off screen between books. I don't know.
Yep. Yeah.
True.
Although
I just feel
I don't
like
know.
Vale's had a very important scene where she was doing
Yeah.
that, and then Radiant was locked away, and now Radiant has to have her moment to kind of be like, it's over, you don't need me anymore, kind of thing.
Like I said at the beginning of talking about this entire thing, is like, at which truth is she now? Like,
Yeah.
because Radiant at some point in the book says like, there's one final truth left or something like that, but it's not a capitalized truth or anything, just a final truth. So was that the testament thing? Is it even a truth, or is it just something like she remembered now? Like, I don't know, like, yeah, where we are going
And
with her oath.
Joshua thinks that Shallan could be at different oaths with testament and pattern, which is like, yeah, so it could be very complicated, in other words, right? I don't know. We better get some answers on all this stuff.
The Spren box, the Sion box could just be like she found it and used it, but it like wasn't intentional or anything. Like she just, I don't know, her mother or her father left it lying around in the garden or something.
Like the Skybreaker, Skybreaker.
Oh no, like
the
yeah.
like
so
in the past.
Yeah, it was just like, it wasn't for her or anything. She just found it.
Did use one at one point. Yeah, that would probably be easy. I think some people are like thinking maybe it was just like the box that contained the blade.
Glowing box.
Yeah. But like she did seem to really recognize this particular not this particular Seon box, but that it was that same type.
She knew what it was.
She knew what it was. Yeah. And it's like, did I use one before? What? And like, yeah, I don't know, Shallan, that's a good question.
Yeah.
By the way, the Seon is there from Elantris, so that's another Elantrian thing. So there you go.
And it was interesting because Wit had made a comment that it's hard to find these unbound Seons.
Yes.
And so how could she have gotten one of those super rare boxes when she was a child?
I don't know, probably just one of the other secret societies and she stumbled on it. I don't know.
We did get a warp like at the release party, actually, was it? Or the Water Stones event, that there are more Seons, or no more Aeons than we know, and that there is a one-to-one or at least there is a Seon for every Aeon. So
that's interesting.
Maybe they are just quite.
What is Ale? What does the Ale Seon mean?
I don't know. Let me look. I'll tell you. Go to that copper mind.
I don't trust my computer.
Ale is beauty, handsomeness.
Oh, that's where the Shalash theory also like comes from. That part of her name is
Ale. Yeah, that's cool.
The Aeon. Not Bren has discredited that, but I think very, very common or common roots very far back or something like that. But anyway, what I found out about the Seon thing is that apparently the Seons are the same in the cognitive realm as they are in the physical realm.
That does seem to be a very unique thing.
Like maybe probably it's because like the whole door is entirely in the cognitive realm and stuff like that. So maybe it's something with that they are basically just really a part of that raw power that stays that way, maybe. But yeah, it's weird that they're not like Spren.
If there's there's only one Seon for each Aeon. Only one. So that indicates that the creation of Seons is super weird, and like there's probably some weird details that are going on, and like they're like Spren, but they're different clearly in several ways. And this is clearly one of the mechanical differences. And you can bring it to Shadesmar.
Does this Seon need to be in the box in order to be in Shadesmar, maybe? Because we see it floating around in Elantris. Not Relay, but...
Right.
So I think the box is just to prevent it from binding to the person that's using it. So it's more like in a magical technology sort of way. Whereas like I think Shallan now freed the Seon, and now that Seon will bind with Shallan. So she'll have 2 Spren and a Saiyan. And a partridge in a pear tree. It's Christmas.
What do we think is the box made of? Like, is it aluminum?
Oh, I did do research on this before this. Oh, I don't know.
I don't think it was ever described, except that it was a very smooth surface, and Shallan was able to see a couple of like nicks on the side of it. But I don't think it was like described as anything in particular.
Yeah, interesting how Mraize described it's like, hey, if you open it, then you'll like break it,
destroy it,
right?
I mean, but I feel like that was just so she doesn't get the Theon.
Yeah, that's probably true. Because I don't think you could destroy a splinter of devotion that easily. I don't know, maybe. I mean, it could be like there could be some kill trigger in that. You know, like it could be plausible, but
before like the Ghostbloods already had figured out anti-investiture, and like if you open the box, actual anti-door or something like that is injected into the
or it's
anti-door light.
it's Schrodinger's Saiyan. Either the Saiyan's in the box or not in the box, but you don't know until you open it. Easy.
Or maybe he just didn't want her to release it.
Yeah, I mean, it is probably mostly that it's just like, no, don't do that. It'll be bad. But because Mraize knows Shallan's kind of a sucker sometimes and believes
she's curious.
She is curious. Some other things in part 4. I like the scene where Shallan and Adolin clearly just had sex and it's just like, hey, yeah, what's up? So it's like, yes,
good for her.
They do get it on.
Yeah.
I like how it's after the second day of the trial. It's like, I'm not. I'm still ready to go. Let's go.
Yeah,
it's just amusing to me. So I'm not stressed out or anything.
Make me wonder whether we are going to see their kids in the back half. Maybe
I think that's very plausible.
Basically means that we have to get them. At least they should be referred to. I think we don't know where Shallan and Adolin will be going.
I think if they survive, like I would like that. Like I think it would be cool to see a strong, confident Shallan, a strong, confident Adolin being awesome Cosmere power couple, and seeing their children like that. That does sound awesome. And then and then see the hair of their children will be both black, blonde, and red. And so they're basically their kids are Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh no!
Right.
I don't know if you know this, but the back half really into card games. That's just a fact. And then you have the gemstone that has an Unmade and it's a pendant. Yeah. Okay. Brandon, don't do any of this.
Let's hope then we'll set up the video games, because then we have the Gwent of Stormlight Archive.
Yeah.
I would play that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I actually have one more thing about the Saiyan. Because like Pattern tells Shallan that he talked to it with it, so we know that Hoyt does have. Yeah. Does he have a Saiyan? Does he maybe have a Scasey? Could he also would they be compatible?
Oh, there's no indication that they would be compatible. We have no real notion as to what the Scasey actually operate like, but at least from my impression in Elantris, has to be another Saiyan, because it doesn't seem like any of the, like, if you have another Saiyan, it's instant communication, which is cool, but it doesn't seem like they could communicate to Fjordan, right? Like, wouldn't Traithan do that if he could? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I just came up with that because we don't technically know what it is, but
we have no idea.
What had me slightly upset there is that they didn't talk to Hoyt with the Saiyan there at the end. Like, they talked to Mraize, but I'd sort of like them to also contact Hoyt.
They did off screen, I think, because like pretty clearly Hoyt was giving a message to Shallan to tell to Mraize. So like they did, it was just off screen. Right. So they clearly did.
But I'd have liked to see the conversation.
Yes, absolutely. Like it's interesting to imagine Hoyt with a Saiyan box. I mean, it wouldn't be in a box, I guess. But like, how does Hoyt disguise this? I mean, he's a Lightweaver. He can do whatever he wants now. But like, was he just carrying this the whole time? I don't know. There's some details. Not terribly surprising that he would acquire one of these, though.
Yep.
That's
kind of his MO.
And A very useful Cosmere thing to have instant communication.
I can't become an Elantrian, so I'll take a Seon as a
consolation prize. These
make it up,
extremely
yeah.
rare, awesome things. It's like, and then I'm just imagining Hoyd like consistently trolling Aventeo. Just like, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? I mean, maybe I think you need to like know who you're calling though.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah.
I don't think you can just like, if you don't know their name, like I don't think you can.
Well, she had to say like, "Let me speak with Mraize."
Right, exactly.
When she talked to him.
Yeah, I think like probably it requires some intense stuff. Like
Yeah,
just,
sure. Yeah,
intent to talk to that
Yeah,
person.
Always
but
does.
It was fine
Yeah,
with the
always.
Titan race. So
What did you guys think with Vale's death? And like Formless. What did you guys think of how that went?
I don't think Vale died per se,
Well,
even though
reintegrated.
Mraize said right. But Mraize considered it like we don't go after our own Ghostbloods, you know. And then Shallan's like, well, we weren't Ghostbloods, so he considered it as like Shallan had attacked Vale and destroyed her basically. But I think that Shallan always was Vale. It's just she had it separate, and so now she's got Vale's confidence and her attitude and everything. I don't know. I was okay with Vale leaving the scene.
Yeah, so for me, I didn't expect her to get reintegrated or anything like that because like the way Bren talked about it in the annotations before,
that's,
like how he wants
true,
to, he wants to may have a more. I'm not familiar with the idea at all. Like, I don't know whether that's a common thing for them to sort of reintegrate, but the way he talked about it, it seemed more like that was a thing to stay, and he wanted to portray it like throughout all the books that Shallan is in, I guess. So, yeah, apparently that sort of thing. That's a more magical component of it that's coming into play here, but yeah, I didn't expect it. I don't mind it that she gets reintegrated because it helps develop the three or Shallan. Are they the two now? I don't know. As a character, yeah.
It did seem like Radiant was going to reintegrate fairly quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was my impression, so I don't think that's going to be like a big plot point. I'm kind of wondering how Shallan's character is going to go from here, and I'm very interested to see how. There's a lot of different directions her character can go,
Yeah.
but I know there was a thread on the forums that was just like saying, you know, that like, hey, you know, plurality can be fine, you know, and like it doesn't need to result in reintegration. I think plot-wise, this works pretty nice because it's like, all right, Kaladin, we're gonna deal with your mental health. All right, Shallan, we're gonna deal with your mental health. Now we're gonna do some other stuff in book 5 and really make you suffer, or something, you know, right?
I really like the line that like I am your whale, Shallan.
Yes,
like that.
yes,
really nice. So
yeah.
I could see Shallan like continuing to create new personas though, like even without like having to like needing them. I could see her as her aspect of light weaving. Like this is what she's good at, is creating these personas. And so I could see that continuing in her.
But maybe like in a more healthy way?
Right. Like she acknowledges what it is and she's not using them to hide from her truths and her history and everything, but she
maybe she could like sort of use it like she doesn't like I don't know when she doesn't want to or when she has to concentrate or something like that, she can sort of say, okay, I'll shut everything else off in a way and be radiant now or something like that, but it's still Shallan. She just has more control over like her emotions or like what she is good at right now. Maybe I could see something like that happening, but yeah, I don't think she'll have permanent personalities anymore. Because
not dependent on them, I guess.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that.
Yeah,
but I could totally see her if she like goes to Nalthis and she's like, "Oh, I need to pretend to be Nalthis."
That's true.
So she creates a Nalthis.
I mean,
wherever.
I guess my thought is that like that's just going to be Shallan playing that role, and she like kind of the whole thing is she's needs to understand what is the truth, right? And so she has to remember always who she is, even in that act, and that's kind of what like Hoyd implied in Oathbringer and things like that. So I think that's gonna kind of be more how it is. Although it is crazy to think we could totally have already seen Shallan on other books. That's possible. That's actually possible because light weaving is OP.
Go through everything, like every character in Era 2 now, and see if they could be Shallan.
I mean, sounds like her.
Yeah. The Stormlight though, that's kind of tricky.
Yeah. But that's what I feel like the next book's going to be revolving around. Them trying to make portable Stormlight, basically.
The whole Ghostblood setup definitely seems to lead there. That Kelsier apparently is trying to make an economy of investiture.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Thadakar's Kelsier. In case you didn't notice, Lord of Scars. Read it. You'll see. Speaking of that, Danielle, you had questions on Ba-Ado-Mishram, I think.
Yeah, I'm just not super familiar with all of the Unmade. And Ba-Ado-Mishram, I read her article on the Copper Mine.
Oh, great. I wrote it.
So yes, I know. Just so that I could see like what the motivations are with Ba-Ado-Mishram's like connection with the fused and with the Parshendi and
so there's a lot that we don't know about Ba-Ado-Mishram because Ba-Ado-Mishram it's unclear to me how much the Unmade influence things between Desolations, and because like Sjanat said, when the Everstorm came back she like stopped slumbering, and it's like that's kind of weird. But Ba-Ado-Mishram, so if listeners, if you don't remember Ba-Ado-Mishram, I don't blame you, because she was not mentioned much in Oathbringer. Mentioned more here, which was great. I loved it. 10 out of 10 book for me, for Ba-Ado-Mishram. But that's really book 5. We're going to see Ba-Ado-Mishram. We're going to see her free. Anyway, so during the False Desolation, which is Recreant's time, basically. So like this is what they were fighting right before the Recreants, essentially. They were fighting the Singers. We know that the fighting was particularly intense at the time, and you can go look at the Gemstone Archive, those epigraphs in part 3 of Oathbringer, and they talk about how Ba-Ado-Mishram connected with all the Singers and provided them forms of power like Odium once did, and Voidlight, which is insane. She is very powerful. Like that is some absurd power to connect with really every singer except the listeners who broke off, right? Like how mechanically that worked, I don't know, but
intent.
Probably just like capital I intent connection, because the listeners broke that connection with Odium, I guess, probably something like that. But the fact that she was able to do that with all the singers, there were no fused in the False Desolation. That's why it's called the False Desolation, because it wasn't a real desolation. But Ba-Ado-Mishram was trying to do something. We don't know if that was at Odium's behest or how much Odium really can do anything between desolations. That's unclear. Or if Ba-Ado-Mishram was just doing it on her own. Ulim kind of seemed to imply that it was a thing Ba-Ado-Mishram wanted to do, but it's unclear. And then Malishi, the bondsmith, the siblings bondsmith, which is interesting. They came up with the strike team to imprison her. And evidently that succeeded, and it tore out the it lobotomized all the singers. So that was great. Also, new lore, the heralds were there. Kalak was there. Nail was there at Ba-Ado-Mishram's binding. Why? What? What does that have to do with anything? I don't know. I have no idea. But that's a thing. And Kalak also calls Ba-Ado-Mishram just Mishram. No one else has shortened an Unmade to just one segment of their Unmade name. I don't count Raboniel saying Ado. That's probably just Ignatium. But nah. But I don't believe that for 1 second. But so what else with Ba-Ado-Mishram? So Ba-Ado-Mishram's been imprisoned.
Ba-Ado-Mishram, her?
Yes. She is referenced as female. Janat considers her to be conniving and crafty. That like Gallant is not the most conniving and crafty.
Right.
Yeah. So and Hesse was saying that there's legends about the Ba-Ado-Mishram being the high princess of the Voidbringers.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know if that actually means Ba-Ado-Mishram ordered Fused around. It would be really awesome if she did, though, because that would just show it's like, oh, you are a badass and you're terrifying. That legend could just be because of the false desolation, though. That it's like she was in charge of that desolation, and it's like, oh, she was in charge of the Voidbringers in like the generic Voidbringer sense, and not the actual Fuse sense. So like that, both are possible. But clearly she's very powerful, and in this next book, we're apparently the Ghostbloods need Ba-Ado-Mishram. Shallan's like, why does Mraize and Thydakar need something to bind an entire species? It's like, no good can come of this. No good. This does not sound good. But as we said, Ba-Ado-Mishram's binding damaged all Spren. It's actually what damaged the sibling. So the sibling talks about Ba-Ado-Mishram, and that's what means she can't produce Tower Light anymore herself. Like that Ba-Ado-Mishram being imprisoned did that. So it's a big deal. So it's like a massive deal.
That her imprisonment causing the Dead Eyes is what really made me question what was her role before she was unmade. Is she some sort of Spren of Spren or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, because it really feels like she has almost like bondsmithy powers in a way, like dealing with connection and stuff. I know by the end of this month, I think we're going to have our recorded episode on Ba-Ado-Mishram and the Recreants. But I can't remember what we talked about in that. But we had some good theories.
To that.
Yeah. No. Oh, that one is going to be a really long one where we hash out the Recreants timeline. So it's really interesting. And I personally think, I think Ian was saying in that episode that hasn't come out yet, I don't think, that Ba-Ado-Mishram might be a friend when we free her. But I'm like, I don't think so. I think Ba-Ado-Mishram is going to be really pissed off at being stuck in a gemstone forever. And
but whoever frees her, she'll probably feel a little indebted to.
I don't think we should trust anything Ba-Ado-Mishram says ever. If Gallant thinks Ba-Ado-Mishram is crafty and conniving, you should never trust anything Ba-Ado-Mishram says ever.
Depending on what happens to the Unmade when they're trapped, like she had a long time to think about what she might be doing when she gets free. So.
That is really, really not good. Oh, also unique, she has 2 hyphens. It's the only Unmade that has 2 hyphens. I don't know how that matters at all.
I wonder what the parts of her name, if they have like meaning or something.
I mean,
Ado.
Probably, but...
Yeah. But, I mean, Hesse thought that the Radiants felt that Gallant was the biggest danger, not Ba-Ado-Mishram. But it's unclear. Like, yeah, how did Ba-Ado-Mishram do things in before the last desolation? It's weird. But, yeah, no. Gallant does not believe herself to be the most clever of the Unmade. So, just as a note, we should be very terrified about Ba-Ado-Mishram, but it's so weird that her binding caused Dead Eyes to exist. And so the Recreants happened, and then the Spren, they did choose. They did do that. They thought there would be pain, but they didn't know Dead Eyes would occur. And so Dead Eyes were new, which is... I love that lore. Like, it's so cool. We got to get the rest of the story about the Recreants there. And Kalak even sort of implies in the epigraphs, like, I know the secrets of the Recreants. So it's like, well, screw you, buddy. We better get that in the next book.
Yep.
Yeah, so
I have that in my notes. What is the secret of the Knights Radiant? I have that written in capital letters.
Yeah. So, I don't know why the Ghostbloods need Ba-Ado-Mishram. Maybe to, like, adjust connection itself. But I don't know. It seems like a bad plan is all I'm saying. Like, Ba-Ado-Mishram is going to be, we're going to free her. I want her to be an eldritch monstrosity of just like you thought Re-Shafir was bad. I want Ba-Ado-Mishram to be the most badass, awesome of the Unmade just truly fearsome. I think Radiants just fear Jeannot because maybe corrupting Sapient's friend, really, right?
I mean, but after what her imprisonment caused, I guess they should fear her Ba-Ado-Mishram much more because they know what that does.
It's unclear how conscious the Unmades are when they're imprisoned, especially the sapient ones. Probably the Thrill's fine. Thrill doesn't care. The Thrill's in the ocean. I don't know. Sure, whatever. But more secure than it seems.
Like fight each other.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they can affect anything. But it seemed like the Ghostbloods had a way to, like, even if they got Kalak in a gemstone, which was a bad plan, and they didn't know the full details to that, it still seemed like there was a way for them to prod for information, at least until a herald went away. So maybe they plan to do something with that rather than free Ba-Ado-Mishram. But Kalak seems to think you gotta free Ba-Ado-Mishram, like, for the good of all Roshar and everything there. So I'm
Is he thinking that this is gonna reverse what happened?
Like to the Deadites?
Yeah. Is that maybe what his plan could be?
I mean, I think there could be more damage than just the Deadeyes that we don't really know. I don't think that the Deadeyes will immediately revert. I think you gotta go through like an Adolin-like process.
It'd probably just be easier, something like that. Maybe like it's like you don't have to work through the whole block or whatever it is that they prevent them, but you still have to put in work to reestablish a bond and
Or just that, like, no matter how good Adolin is to Maya, there's an upper limit as to how back with it she will be. And, like, when they free Ba-Ado-Mishram, maybe, like, Adolin has done the work and then that is sufficient. But, like, and then others can do that, but you still have to go through the work. So, like, I wouldn't want it to be too easy to reverse the recreants.
It would kind of reduce everything that Adolin has gone through. Maya.
Yeah, but man, it's really cool to imagine like Shallan having two
cryptics.
But there is a question, like, if Adolin revived Maya, like, is he actually going to be an edge dancer or something new? And like, it's certainly at the end of the trial, Blended's like, well, this is definitely new. We've never seen this before. And it's like, you're not going to be a Radiant, but this is new. Something's different. So
something new.
Maybe he'll be a Voidbinder.
Wonder whether, not a Voidbinder, but maybe Jeannot enlightening Maya could actually like heal whatever is missing. Something like
that's possible too, actually.
And so he'll become an enlightened edge dancer or something like that.
What if Jeannot and Ba-Ado-Mishram, Jeannot's on our side and they fight Ba-Ado-Mishram?
Oh!
Doesn't that sound sweet?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. But like, maybe you could like Nahel bond Ba-Ado-Mishram, become like a new bondsmith? Evil bondsmith?
Evil bondsmith.
Well, like Jeannot too. Like, I think that's plausible.
Yeah,
like, you can well imagine bonding Jeannot and creating like Warlight instead of Towerlight. Right? Very similarly.
Yeah.
It's got the honor. It's got the odium. It's possible. But I'm so excited for the plot line in the next book. I don't know how they're going to get together with Kaladin and Szeth. I don't know, but I want them to meet up. I think that's important. But also
maybe maybe now that like they are pretty close to or closer to Aasimar than they are to anywhere else in Shadesmar right now, where they're at an Oathgate.
That's true.
So maybe they do something like that, or even go to the Shinova Oathgate because the sibling is back now, and if they were
that's true. Yeah. The sibling can just order them all open.
Yeah,
that's true. But like, would they know to go there? But I mean, I guess Shallan can just call Hoyd, so it's not like like we have instantaneous communication now. So like, I want to see Shallan and Yasna finally talk about the Ghostbloods and hunt some freaking Ghostbloods. I need that. And
in general, I like how this really starts to set up Shallan as a world hopper, more or less.
Yes.
Like if she doesn't go off world at either end of book 5 or like in between, I don't know what I want to believe anymore because
it seems like Mraize knows how to do it, just like needs a little bit more. I guess Ba-Ado-Mishram. Oh man, I'm excited. We're finally gonna get some Ghostblood fighting action. Shallan's ready to go. I am interested to see how her character goes, but like there's so many different ways Brandon can characterize Shallan. Book 5, and so I don't know. Like there's a lot of different valid directions. It's nice to see her not regress. Like I don't think we'll see that. Like I think we're done with the regression because now she has accepted what occurred.
Well, that's the biggest complaint of her from fans of the series is how she's constantly forgetting or trying to forget or trying to avoid her truths and things. So I think now that we're past that, she'll kind of become more of a fan favorite than she is currently.
I think she's gonna be
awesome.
awesome.
I love her.
She's very interesting. I loved the interplay of the personas in this book. The alters, sorry.
And I really liked how formless came to be in like when it finally surfaced, because it wasn't just another alter. It was actually, it sort of suppressed the real Shallan and replaced her. So I really liked how that played out. Although I found it a little anticlimactic, like just a little, because it got dealt with so quickly then. But
Murphy Napier thinks exactly the same about Formless. That's like, we dealt with Formless really quickly, and she was quite disappointed about that. You can go check out her channel.
So I liked the way it played out, but it went away a little too quickly. Like similar how I didn't expect Whale to reintegrate. I thought, okay, Formless might be something we have to deal with now. From now on.
Yeah, nope, we got Ba-Ado-Mishram to deal with, and you know what? I'm totally cool with that. Me personally, give me the more Ba-Ado-Mishram, the better. 10 out of 10, many Ba-Ado-Mishrams. Give me that. I'm excited. Watch me be disappointed with Ba-Ado-Mishram, because I've just been hyping Ba-Ado-Mishram up so much. But like, there's so many secrets, and like, I know, like, I think Brandon's been hyping up Ba-Ado-Mishram, because it's like, it's just really compelling, just these mysteries on like how powerful this, like the clues are there that it's like, oh, this is not going to be good. And like, this will be the like one of the first times we see like one of the Unmade being freed, because like we like trapped a Unmade. Like maybe trapping the Thrill is a bad idea too. Like that's possible, right?
Now I have to think about the clip
well,
from, I think the Power Rangers film, where like the lady goes, after 10,000 years I'm free.
Yeah, but like with Eldritch tentacles and like shadowy tentacles and stuff. Yeah, there you go, easy. Let's put that on the Ba-Ado-Mishram page. That's some good fan art right there. No, let's not do that. I'm excited. This is cool. This is gonna be really, really cool. But I really liked this idea that, you know, maybe Shallan doesn't revive Testament Book 5, because like we have a very narrow time frame here. Testament's probably pissed. But at least Adolin can help her with that. Like, if anyone, Adolin is an expert at this. So like that works out really nicely. So that's
the only one.
Yeah, the only one. So like, I really like that synergy for their plot in the next book. But yeah, let's have Yasna join them. Let's have them murder some Ghostbloods. Shallan, be honest with Yasna.
Yep, there needs to be some talking.
I mean, we've been waiting for that for like since Words of Radiance. Shallan talking with Yasna about the frickin' Ghostbloods, and now it's like so.
Well, she finally talked to Adolin, so that was her first step.
I mean, it feels like maybe Shallan just talked with Hoyd about it, and like Hoyd's gonna tell Yasna, which now maybe I don't know if I like that. If that talk happened off screen, but Hoyd was clearly telling Shallan about Thydakar, right? Like it's like, let me tell you about Thydakar.
Yeah, similar, this guy again.
Similar with Hoyd telling Yasna about it. Oh my god, I would. I really want to see those conversations. Like, I know they were never written, but because that's not how this works.
But without when they go ghost blood hunting, I sort of imagine it like how in Hero of Ages at the beginning when Elend and Vin sort of take care of the Inquisitors and just totally mess them up, and sort of like Shallan just kills Mace or something in the first chapter or something like that. Like probably not Mace, but a ghost blood. I'd kind of like that.
I want to see Eatel like actually do something productive, because we that's another thing. Since Words of Radiance, none of that. So it's like all that's got to be in this next book. Like this is setting up the Ghost Blood conflict that clearly they're going to be, instead of attacking Yasna, attacking Shallan now, or maybe both. Oh man, Ghost Blood Hunters, not Ghost Hunters, Ghost Blood Hunters.
Ghost Blood Busters.
It's another secret society.
No.
Shallan becomes a Versatalian. Has 2 secret societies, of course. She's in multiple secret societies. Any final thoughts for Adolin and Shallan and their stuff?
As far as the party they were with is concerned, like I was really sad when they said Feld would be joining them, because
that's
he's World Topper and
his wife.
We didn't see anything. Like they said, okay, he's with them, and he didn't do anything for the entire trip. And then, okay, he apparently stayed with them before Last in Integrity. So
So if you don't remember, Zoo, the Stump, and a bunch of others left back to go to Eurythero to say that they were captured in Lasting Integrity. But Godek and Godeki, I don't know.
Godeki.
The Edge Dancer.
The Edge Dancer. Felt and Molly, Felt's wife, stayed. So that could be interesting. Dude, what if Felt talks about Kelsier?
Oh!
Seriously, though.
That would be a good one.
Like, seriously, that's super plausible, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, God. And it's also like how we know that Eatel is like of Southern Skedron descent. So what is the relationship there?
Oh, dude, Felt could be important. And I like this. Oh, Brandon's just slipping that in. And because, like, we know Felt's a world hopper because we've known that for a while. And it's pretty clear in Oathbringer. But, like, we're super fans. We're all super fans. Yeah. We're making content, and it'd be nice if Shallan's like, hey, so I know about all these places. Maybe Kalak joins them. That's also plausible, that they have an adventuring party with Kalak just being hilarious. Any Kalak is just the best.
They found out like that, I don't know, Ba-Ado-Mishram is like imprisoned, like her gemstone is actually on Ashen or something, that it just go off to Ashen.
I don't know about that. I think likely
Hunters in space.
In space. I think maybe Shinovar, like, got to give a reason for everyone to converge in Shinovar, I guess. But, oh, man. But then, like, you can just ask Fel. It's like, hey, what's up? And then...
Or he just overhears something, and he's like, wait, who?
Wait. Oh, you know about this stuff. Oh, we should probably actually talk about this now. It's like, yeah, we probably should, Felt. Because Shallan now knows more than... I mean, not more than Yasna, but knows a lot of information now.
She's very aware now, Cosmere aware.
Yeah.
And I feel like there were a lot of references to her sketchbooks and her journeying, like her journals for traveling and stuff. So I feel like she's being set up to be like the one to put it all together.
I want Shallan to be like a Silverlight scholar so bad now, and just like be like a natural scientist or like
that sounds awesome.
Stuff like that in Silverlight, and just so maybe we get like Shallan sketches in Mistborn Era 3 even or something like that, because like she's just sticking around and
she can meet up with Chris and they can hang out and chit chat.
Like it's so true though. She knows so much, and she will only learn more. And when Yasna and Shallan finally talk about things, then they'll like maybe be even stronger together. And got Hoyd on their side. They have a lot. They have a huge amount of information. Hoyd and Kalak and Yasna's information. You kind of have a lot of stuff going on. Wow, I'm just really excited to see where Shallan goes. But Shallan's like the character that, like, if you're a Stormlight only reader, the character is discovering Cosmere stuff with the readers, which is why, like, I didn't feel the Cosmere stuff was, like, too egregious. I know you complained about this in Rhythm of Previews with Vasher.
Not complaining, just making a
people
mention
should
that, like,
need to read Warbreaker. That's what you feel.
Yes, I do feel like it's necessary now, because I'm thinking about people who just pick up Stormlight and they're like, what the heck are all these terms and what is this color magic now and stuff. So it would feel really kind of disconcerting or something.
Yeah, that's the problem, like, with us being super fans, because we don't have the perspective of somebody who hasn't read everything.
That's true.
So I don't know how much, like, I actually saw somebody on the Discord, like, because they were more aware, they were like, oh, shouldn't Scadarial be correct? Shouldn't it be Scadrial? Well,
Yeah.
They do, but
it should be, but yeah.
But, like, I feel like Shallan will just learn with the readers. And so, like, it's much like how, in Secret History doesn't do this as well, because Secret History is a very nerdy story, but very Cosmere nerdy story. But, like, that sort of introduces Kelsier to the greater Cosmere. So that's, like, your route in Mistborn to learn about more Cosmere things. And Shallan is gonna be if, like, you only read Stormlight, this is your access to other Cosmere stuff, and to learn that there is more out there and you can do more research, but it's a nice strategy to have characters learn things rather than it just be an info dump and, like, the characters being intrigued, because then if you're a Stormlight only reader, then it should hopefully be intriguing, right? I don't know. I think it could work.
Yeah. I mean, that similarly to how, like, Navani was the one in this book to discover all the stuff about the lights and everything. Like, Raboniel could just have dumped it on her, and but we got to see Navani figure everything out herself. So
and that was really compelling, right? And there's some deep Cosmere stuff there. Let me tell you, like, that's gonna matter. That's for sure. I don't know. I think it'll be cool. But so I think next time we're either gonna talk about Kaladin or Navani or both. I don't know. Maybe. I think we need to outline to see how long what we're gonna say, because unlike Shallan and Adolin, which honestly didn't have that many chapters, Kaladin and Navani have a lot of chapters.
Yeah, and it's not so nicely contained in like a small plot line. Yeah,
so we'll need to see. I think we'll try and get these out weekly until we're done. So we'll either have a Kaladin Navani episode or two separate ones, and then like a Dalinar Yasna, and then final thoughts type thing. Now that'll be our little Rhythm of Review series. I don't know. This was fun. I liked this.
Yeah.
Yep.
And still in the raw time of only 4 chapters, like in the first Rhythm of Previews. But we're not analyzing line by line of everything. And when you have the whole book, you don't need to do that, right? Because it's like, oh, I'm picking up foreshadowing for later. It's like, yeah, I know. I read the book.
Well, I did do my analyzing, like, while I was reading.
Yeah, clearly. Your notebook is more detailed than Kalak's. It feels like. More answers there.
Well, thanks for joining us on Rhythm of Reviews. You can find us at 17thshard.com, and you can discuss this book with us on the forums, on the Discord. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, YouTube, and you can talk with us in the comments of all of those.
And you can support us on Patreon.
Yep.
Yes, support us on Patreon.
If you like our
stuff. We'd really appreciate it. Yeah. We'll give you some secret outtakes and
yes, that's true. I did before we recorded this. I had a very particularly awful thing, and for merely $1 a month, you too can get really terrible voice acting from me. Yes,
which is fun.
and basically we just don't want to inflict it on the actual audience. So pay for that privilege. Yeah,
there are no refunds.
No refunds. Anyway.
All right. Well, we will see you all next time for whatever we're going to be talking about in the next episode.
More Rhythm of War.
Something related to Rhythm of War.
Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.